All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Lineage Legacy Podcast. This is Francisco Aguilar, your host, and we are doing part 2 of Doug Anderson's family history.
Yes, sir.
So, where we left off on was you going over to Kuwait, joining, joining the forces, and getting from civilian job over to government job,
Mhm.
and yeah, we left off on you going to Kuwait and kind of experiencing the different life over there. Kind of not a wake up call, but what would I call it? Like just a realization, right, of just different cultures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit um about what that was. What was your
It was an experience, and that's hard to come by. Yeah, that's hard to come by. It's just experiences and being able to travel and see other people. And I was talking about this in my Bible study class group with my brothers on Saturdays. Like, um, getting your point of view through experiences requires travel.
hmm
You have to travel. You have to see what other people are living like, and that makes you uncomfortable. But when you see other people living like that, like that's every day for them. And that really would that's how I break it down as experience. So it was a great experience, being over in Kuwait, Afghanistan, that wasn't obviously a really great experience, but it was something that I had to do, to serve the country. And, I had to take that step forward for my family. It was an opportunity to put ourselves ahead, put our family ahead. And I used that to, pay off my college so I could start putting money towards my daughter's college. Just to rewind a little bit, it's like, at 20, 21 years old, having two daughters, back to back, that was my main reason, is going overseas to take care of my debt so I could take care of my daughters, their college funds, and start a career. So working for the Department of Defense helped me do that. They gave me the opportunity to do that, and that started in Kuwait and Afghanistan. And from there, my how I got over there was, my dad first telling me when I worked for UPS, you're doing there's young cats over here 18 years old at the mail station making $100,000 tax free doing the same thing that you're doing. There's no reason why you can't do this. So from there I asked him, I was like, well, how do I do that? He gave me companies to start a profile on, apply. I had to create my own resume, get a passport, all this stuff I had to do myself. I had to take action. So taking action was never an issue. It was just like I had to find something that I really wanted, right? And when I did that, I was like, things started laying out for me. And my dad, once I got over there, my dad was in Iraq and they were in Fallujah, Erbil, Baghdad, and they were getting hit way more than we were in Kuwait. Afghanistan was getting messed up too, but I hadn't been over there yet. And so I was like, my main thing was getting my dad over to Kuwait or somewhere chill, right? And then I went to Afghanistan and I was like, man, it's like I definitely have to get my dad out of there because he's still over in Iraq, right? After I got out of Afghanistan, came back to Kuwait, got my dad over to Kuwait. It was just, I was so grateful because I was like with my best friend, what I'm saying, overseas,
Mhm.
and someone who helped me get over there. He's kind of like, hey, this is what you have to do. It's all up to you to do it. And then I did it, put in the work, and the reward was being overseas, tax free, up to 100 and something thousand, with my dad and traveling the world, dude. Like I remember one time I was like, "You're coming to Amsterdam with me." It was a tattoo convention, and I was like, "I'm going to Amsterdam." He's like, "That's cool." I was like, "No, you're coming with me, man." He's like, "What?" He's hanging out on the couch. But just some of the moments over there, like I mean, even my dad coming when I was fresh over there. It's like my third day. He was coming back, and I was in one of the transport areas in Kuwait, and he saw me sleeping on the couch. I was like processing in, and he's like, "Man, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Man, it was crazy to see my dad halfway across the country.
Not bad.
Like those plane trip, everything. It's a whole different. I'm gonna go back to experience, man. Like being able to be on a flight for 12, 13 hours. Some of these flights have levels, like
hmm
a second level to it,
hmm
but you would never know that unless you took trips overseas.
Right.
And that's why I say experience is all about travel. But being over there with my dad, it was just a blessing, man. Just all the stuff that I had been through, I watched me been through, I watched him go through, um, and being able to land there overseas and then travel together. I went to Africa. I took him to Amsterdam, man, UK, Germany. It's
So
just like it was crazy.
so what years were these that that you went overseas to Kuwait, and what years was he at Iraq and Afghanistan?
Yeah, so he went over there 2000 and right after I graduated, so January 2008. And
Mhm.
then so he was over there back and forth, different contracting companies and what have you. He's bouncing around all around Iraq. But I came over in 2012. Like, yeah, 2012. And then I was there through 20 till 2014 to end of 2014 pretty much,
Mhm.
where I moved to San Diego. But yeah, that during the end of yeah, once I got there, I was like, oh, I got to get him to a safer place
Mhm.
because I'd be in Kuwait and he was still in Iraq.
And you would hear all the crazy stuff
I,
going on.
oh man, I would be talking to him on the phone. Next thing I know, I hear the C ram. The C ram's like a little, and you're about to get,
The alarm.
and then him and my uncle Phil are under a F-150
Jeez.
taking cover, and I'm like, Dad, man, I was like, you can let me go, man. Make sure you take care of yourself to keep your head on a swivel. And it's just like those little things. I'm like, man, I got to get him over here. So
Yeah.
opportunities came across the plate, and I got him over there.
Were you and your dad close before you went over there?
Oh yeah.
Or obviously that experience out there overseas definitely got you guys closer. But were you guys pretty close before?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we were pretty close before. Another one of the things I did when I was younger was when I was in eighth grade going into ninth grade, I would always go stay with my dad over the summer.
Mhm.
And there's that one summer I didn't go back home. So that obviously broke my mom's heart, my sister, everything
Okay.
like that. Yeah, and I was just like, man, it was a very tough time for me being torn as a kid at eighth grade. But my passion was basketball, man. I wanted to go to the league so bad, and I had dreams of just going to playing UNC.
Yeah.
And being with my dad, I never got to really live with him. Live with him. He's always traveling. So, that was I mean, being able to start high school with my dad, he's always been my best friend. So that kind of really, I got to live with him, and then living with my dad in eighth grade, or going to ninth grade and 10th grade. Dude, we went to Florida. We'd go to New York every year to go get clothes. I'd never watched the ball drop ever in my life.
You saw the ball drop with him?
Twice.
Dang.
We go up there every year. We stayed in slow bomb projects, same projects that Mary J. Blige grew up in
Mhm.
Yonkers. Like, that's like an experience.
Yeah.
Whether it wasn't the best situation,
Right.
it was crazy scary. But I'm like, I'll never get like, you know how many people don't get the experiences?
But shit, would you do it back again with him again? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
Cockroaches and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't
Because
get yeah.
that experience right there got me to where I am today.
Mhm.
But like going to slow bomb projects and Yonkers and going to Dr. J's to go get your school clothes, and then you go right back down to North Carolina and nobody has what you're wearing. It's like, where'd
Mm.
you get that? Watching the ball drop, I don't know how many people don't get to see that in person,
Yeah. No, I
but
don't.
the experience wasn't the best.
Right.
I'll tell everybody, they lock you in on a freaking K on the sidewalk, and you're barricaded,
Oh,
and
okay.
there are no bathrooms.
Oof.
So you're watching.
it,
you're, I'm like, yo,
it's not what it looks like on TV.
it's not what it looks like on TV unless you're up in a penthouse or something. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But I got to watch the ball drop in person though.
That's crazy.
More than once, and I was like, man, that. I mean, to me, those are the experiences, and I got to do it with my
What
dad.
year was that? You saw the ball drop?
That was 2014. No, not 2014, 2005, 2004.
Mm.
Yeah, 2004, 2005. Dang,
Dang.
that's so crazy. It's
Tell
crazy.
2004, dude. That wasn't even freaking. I don't even know what I was doing at that age.
Yeah, 2004,
That's sick though.
2005. Yeah, because 2006, 2011, 2007, I was graduating high
Yeah.
school. Yeah, so
So
2004, 2005. And then another thing that me and my dad did was drive from North Carolina to to a home in Texas. We drove from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Bryan College Station. Took us
Mm.
about 23 hours.
And that's where his side of the family is from, right?
Yeah, that's where I did a lot of my growing up in Texas too. I would go there in summers, College Station, there, Dallas, Fort Worth, Funky Town,
Hmm. Tell us about your experience there.
Oh man, that's the other side of my family, man. Oh, I can't explain how grateful I am for them. That's where I got like a lot of my the religious side. My grandma Shirley, I remember my grandpa Muddy, he was a truck driver for Atlas Carriers, and my grandma Shirley, she was always there, so I was spending time with her, and we would pray before we went to bed every night. And that's not something that I did like up in Washington all the time. So it was like different. And then I learned a lot about like, you know, uh, respecting your elders and stuff like that. I learned that from my grandparents up in Washington too, but it was just re-emphasized like on the spiritual side in Texas.
The Southern hospitality, right? Or the
Man.
Southern, like, yeah, I think that's what they call
Hmm.
it, right?
Yes,
Just
that's one.
everyone's so grounded.
And just respecting people and I want to say, yeah, respecting your elders, man. Always saying hello. Make sure you say hello when you walk past people. And that's how come I always do that. Some people look at me weird when I say hello,
Yeah.
and we're walking past, I have no idea who they are. I'm like, hey,
Especially in California, right?
yeah, yeah. I get a lot of confused looks, and it's like, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
And, men, women, everybody look at me like. Some people say, hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
But it's just like a normal thing for me.
And then you got that instilled from your
Mhm.
experience in Texas.
Yes, yes. My grandma Shirley, she really led the family with the whole respect thing. That my grandma Shirley, I love her. She always is. She's the glue of the family.
Hmm. What's her name? Shirley's her name?
Shirley Waters.
Shirley Waters. And
Yeah,
your grandfather?
my grandpa Muddy Waters.
Muddy's his actual name?
Yep, Muddy
Really?
Robert Muddy Waters.
Robert Muddy Waters.
Yep. Yes,
That's
sir. Drive for Atlas Carriers, man. He passed in 2009, but yeah, he was my he showed me about fishing and everything. So he showed me about buying fish. He also instilled things like saving. Those Gulligan gallons, 5-gallon Gulligans.
hmm
We'd save our quarters, dollars, everything like that. And every time I came back, we would be able to get fish or things that we were really really looking forward to purchasing
hmm
through saving. And I was like, man, those little concepts as you're growing, when you're 5, 8, 9 years old, you get those rewards from saving and delayed gratification.
Yeah.
I think those are important.
Yeah, they when they teach you at a young age, you really don't know what they're
What's
teaching you, but you
Mhm.
look back at it now and you're like, oh, he was teaching me the value of the
Yep.
dollar, the value of saving,
Mhm.
and working hard and saving for what you want.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. And then, I got my Aunt Tracy, my Aunt Tanya. They both played vital, vital parts in, helping raise me too. Because it
Hmm.
was my grandma, she had Tanya, Tony, and Tracy. So 2 girls, 1 boy,
Hmm.
all T's.
Tanya, Tony, and Tracy.
Yep. And my dad's Tony. So I was all like, man, all 3 of them helping raise me, my grandma, and then we would go to Fort Worth, go see my Uncle Don and Aunt Jan, which was my grandma's sister.
Mm,
So my Aunt Jan helped raise my dad, and that's where we go to do fireworks in the street because we ain't do that in Washington.
right.
We ain't pop fireworks in the street. Can't do that.
No.
And so, like, when Texas and Fort Worth, that's what I'll be looking forward to every year, going
Yeah.
to Aunt Jan and Uncle Don's house.
Awesome fireworks.
Pop some fireworks in the street. Everybody's doing it. That was the most exciting thing that I look forward to. And then, as a kid, Aunt Jan and Uncle Don, they always slide me a little 20,
Yeah.
back in the day when they, Uncle Don slide you a little 20 piece cash.
Yep. And you're like, all right, cool.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, I always laugh with at least
Go
50
back to
bucks.
Washington with those, flex
Yeah.
them a little bit.
Man, yeah. I will say I am very fortunate to have the families that helped get me to where I am today. Um, because not everybody has that, and I understand that because growing up around my friends, some of them lost their parents before we even graduated high school. Some didn't even have their grandparents. So
Or
my
some
brain,
of them weren't even close to them.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that's something that I just didn't understand. But like the older I got, I was like, not everybody's situation is the same. Um, but it's something that I've become grateful for as every day goes on. I was always loved them and was grateful, but as time went on, people get older and people die. You start seeing people's situations. So, that's the most thing I'm grateful. I'm a very fortunate individual just because of the family, both the families that helped get me to
Hmm.
where I'm at today. And I always tell them that. I always tell them that because I was probably a hard kid to, so at some points because like I always kind of took my own calculated risks.
Yeah.
I listened to people, but I took my own calculated risks and blazed my trail too.
Hmm. But all that comes with like your morals, like the way that you were raised and everything. Like it's a full circle, right?
Right.
It's a full circle.
Yep.
Um, no, that's beautiful. So Texas had a big influence on you. Um, your your grandpa Muddy and your grandma Shirley,
Yep.
your aunts. Um, what point in time did did they, or was your dad already living in North Carolina when you were born, or right after? Like he left Texas a long time ago. That's where he was born and raised, right?
Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
my dad, once he enlisted in the military, his first station was Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane.
Mm.
He joined when he was 18. I was born when he was 20. Yeah, and then after that, I think he went to Korea, did Desert Storm, and had a couple more different. I don't know if he went to Guam,
Mhm.
but he went to a handful of Air Force bases, right? Um, and the reason why I know that is because every time we talk to somebody or have any kind of conversation about any other state and place that I don't know about, he'll name a base that's close to that, and then he'll name like certain things that happen around that, and that automatically built a relationship with that person that we
Oh
didn't
yeah.
know. And I'm like, and I think that's where I got it from. I'm like, man, everywhere we went, it doesn't matter if we knew the person. You're like, oh, you from that bit? Oh, and he would say a saying that he heard there or something that he remembered. And then we were like, man, what you know about that? And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh man, dude, and then go into a story. I'm like, so I would hear him. I'm like, man, you've been to a lot of bases. But one of his last bases was Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was
Mm.
Fort Bragg Pope Air Force Base. And I remember him saying, he's like, I don't like moving, so I'm staying here. I ain't going back to Texas. I ain't going back to Washington. He's like, North Carolina, I'm good.
Mm.
So he's always been there. He don't like moving, and he has a nice little. He planted his flag there, And I like going back home to North Carolina. He got a nice house.
Yeah.
Um, I love everything that how everything laid out for me, my dad, and my family. Period. And when we just get started too, I just got off the phone with him not too long ago, a couple of days ago, and it's like I'm applying pressure all year this year, Dad. I was like, my goal is for you and my mom not have to work by the time I hit 40. So I turned 38 this September.
There we go.
Yeah, so that we applying pressure, man. We're just trying to reach that financial freedom so I can get them good. My grandparents are already good. They're retired, but I want them to be more than good, and I want them to have their kids, which are my parents, more
Hmm.
in their life
Hmm.
because that's the only thing that's not like forever,
Yeah.
right? Is life. So I'm like, if I can get
If you
in
can
it
free up, their schedule, free
their
up their
time.
time, and have the freedom,
Hmm.
essentially create the freedom for them.
Yeah, that's why I always say, financial freedom. And I believe energy is currency.
Hmm.
So if I can apply and redirect my energy correctly and align it all, then they won't have to work anymore. And if they don't have to work anymore, they can spend more time with their mom and dad. And if they can spend more time with their mom and dad, my grandparents are happier and living the end of their life. They can
Hmm.
spend more time with their kids.
Yeah.
Exactly how my parents would feel when they're in their parents' phase.
Yeah.
My brain always thinks about how other people are feeling or how they're thinking or, what situation they're in. I
Or how you can better it.
it's hard for me to think about me.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's a weakness, sometimes it's a strength, but I believe in giving more than you receive. So
Hmm.
I'm always trying to give more value, seeing how I can help put the shoe on the other foot to see how I would feel if I were them, so I can help them possibly like ease their situation or help them in their situation.
Yeah.
Because I meet a lot of people in this world. So if I can align the two right people to help solve a problem, I don't need anything.
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep on, going the way I'm going,
Yeah.
blazing my trail. But if I can help people along the way, I always give the analogy of climbing up a mountain. I was like, I'm climbing up the mountain, But if I can throw a line out for somebody to help get up to the mountain, and then they get off on a level of the mountain that works for them, that's great
Mm-hmm.
because that works for them.
Yeah.
So that's my little analogy.
I like
I'm
that.
always trying to throw the rope. I always got the rope for people. So
Yeah.
I was like, you can get off wherever you want on the mountain. I was like, or I'll see you at the top.
There you go.
So that's my analogy.
But we going up.
Yeah,
We're going
I'm
up.
telling you, we just getting started.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. So family is definitely a lot. It has a big presence in your life. You definitely are, giving more, than you receive, and it's a good thing. Yeah, it's a good thing that you care about other people, and I think it's just universe. It's good karma, whatever they call it. It'll come back around. I mean, it's. I mean, you're blessed. Every day, man. Every day.
Every day, man. That's what I say every day. I'm like, man, some people didn't wake up today.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
every day, I'm treating it like infinite amount of money day.
Mm-hmm.
$10 million day, $20 million, whatever you want to call it. Like,
Yeah.
and I do talk to people like, if someone said they would give you, $10 million today, would you take it? People are going to be like, yes.
Yeah.
But the only caveat is, you only got 24 hours to live. You're not going to take it.
Yeah.
Right. So
No.
how come you don't wake up and treat your day every day like your every day like that?
Right.
And people don't have an answer for that.
Yeah. It's good we take things for granted. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I try to get up every day and just utilize my time the best I can. And I'm not the perfect individual, but just implementing certain things to help me direct my energy, like I said, to align my energy in the right way to where I can help the most amount of people as I can while I'm on this earth. Because I think everything else will follow.
You definitely, show that. You don't only speak it, but you show it as well, man. I'm curious to say, like, um, how does that rub off on your family? And I'm not saying rub off in a bad way, but like, you've influenced your family, because I remember you saying that in the first podcast, like, even your mom, your dad says, like, where did you come from?
Yeah.
Where does this like vibrant entrepreneur spirit come from? Because
Yeah.
you were kind of a little bit out of the pack, you would say.
Bro,
So
I don't, man, I always, my answer always is God. Because like that's the only explanation. God and experience. I don't know. I took a lot of calculated risks. I did a lot of things that people say no to. I, I was working at UPS. I left UPS, Spokane, Washington. My whole family was there to go straight to Afghanistan and Kuwait.
mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people would do that.
Yeah, not many.
And then before that, I left 8th grade to go with my dad for the summer, but I stayed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know a lot of people who will go against their mom and their family and like do that.
The norm.
You know what I'm saying? To get out of their comfort zone. And that's what it was hard at the time.
Yeah.
It was hard at the time. I'm not even gonna lie, it was very tough. But I always say, like, those little tough times that make your heart jump and like your stomach, it's like that's how you know you're alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it doesn't make you feel like that, like the feeling like when you're shooting a free throw, and that free throw depends on the championship, and
Yeah.
you have to hit it. That feeling,
Yeah. If you don't feel the pressure, if you don't feel your heart jump,
and that's what makes me confirm to my brain that I'm alive,
Yeah.
bro. And I'm taking, it's like, as long as I'm not gonna die from it, like that's all. I mean, I don't need to jump out of a plane to get the exhilarating heart jump stuff. I take calculated risk on myself and my future and my family that make my heart jump, and that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
And everybody has their own certain thing, but that's just what makes me feel alive. Just staying out of my comfort zone. I get fidgety when I'm in my comfort zone because I don't feel like I'm doing enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta go do something. That's why I say energy is currency, man. Because like, you can redirect your energy, and you got to know yourself too. But it's like if you can redirect your energy and align it to help people. I think helping people is the basis of most of the, solves a lot of problems.
100%.
Maybe you go out and help people. I mean, however that is, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's giving back at church or whether it's, giving your time back or helping people on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I don't know, building homes in Mexico, whatever you want.
Yeah.
I think giving that time back, giving that help And I think it just gives you a different kind of perspective, and I think it let everything else kind of falls into place.
It
It's
does.
hard to explain, but
No,
that's
it
how I
makes
think it works.
sense. Yeah, because I've seen it happen. Um, so going back to Kuwait, you and your dad out there,
Mhm.
during this time, um, where was your life, your personal life? Like, did
Oh,
you have
man.
your kid already at that moment? You
Yeah,
did, right? Because you had to
I
make
had 2
that
daughters.
transition. You had to take that calculated risk again, and you're like, I gotta do something for my family, for my daughters.
Mhm.
Um, how was that personal life and that career life compared to each other?
It was tough. I would say it was tough, especially with my daughters being so young. They were 1 and 2, their moms, um, and just I can imagine how tough it was for them, and I understand that, and it's impossible for me not to see that.
Hmm.
And my idea was that I'll be back by the time they're 5, so they could start by the time they did start remembering I was back, and I was back by the time they were 5. But, like, it's hard to replace the physical person
Hmm.
and being there, and I understand that, like
Especially during that time, right? When they're babies, they need a lot of, attention in the sense of like, I need a diaper change. I need,
Right,
you want to be there for the first few, steps of walking and stuff like that. But you had to make that, calculated risk to be able to provide as well. I mean, at the end of the day, you're a man, you're a provider, and that's essentially what you were thinking, right?
right, and yeah, and that's why my dad, he raised me to be like that, like, to provide and, don't be afraid of hard work. My grandpa instilled that in me, my grandpa Dennis in Washington instilled that in me, he's a Vietnam veteran. Um And not only the kids, man, the moms. I also want to drive that home. It's like it's not easy for the moms right after you have, postpartum depression, like everything after you have a kid and stuff that we can't understand as men. And I was raised by a village of women, bro.
Hmm.
I was raised by women, my mom, my aunts, my grandma, like my
And
grandma
even that,
Shirley, Aunt Tanya and Tracy. Like I was raised by a village of women
but
and
you still don't grasp or you still don't understand the deep,
you can't because we
yeah,
can't have kids, bro.
right.
Well,
We're not women.
yeah, that's what like we won't be able to understand, and but I try to think about how like they like how I would feel if I was in that position by myself and Doug was leaving over. I'm like, man, it's a lot of
Mhm.
responsibility to be able to guide and direct an infant into being a toddler and all the right things, those little moments every single day, right? So that's something that I would always think about when I was overseas, and
Mhm.
I FaceTimes as much as I can. Um, and like the relationship with my youngest daughter wasn't the best, with her mom. So that was just tough and turbulent. It still kind of is. And it's just like the life isn't going to be perfect. And nobody told me that it was going to be easy. So I don't walk around complaining about it. I don't go like nobody ever hears me talk about it. Like this is like probably the most someone will ever hear me talk about it
Mhm.
because I don't talk about that stuff. I don't talk
Yeah.
about stuff that isn't fair or what I don't think is fair. Because if things weren't supposed to happen, they wouldn't happen.
Right. Everything
So
happens
there's
for a reason.
no point in complaining about
Mhm.
it. And nobody said it was going to be easy anyway when we were born. So I don't know where people get wanting it to be easy.
Mhm. Or where they start giving up.
Yeah, and it's like I don't I just never been that person.
Yeah.
I just always faced it head on, and it's like if something's my fault, and like yes, it's my fault, my bad.
Mhm.
Like that's something that I have to live with for the rest of my life, or that's something that I have to deal with for the rest of my life, right? And their mothers, and I can never like apologize enough for like having to leave them or doing that. And it's but my reasonings behind it, I know I'm like okay, I would then do it for me,
You were being selfish.
I would not be in the position I am today if I didn't take those calculated risks.
100%.
So,
And not to say that you were a better person then, but you're a much better person now than
oh
if you
yeah,
would have not had taken those calculated risks.
yeah. I don't know where. I mean, I always in Spokane. It was crazy. I was always thought the world was against. I was like, man, why is this happening to me? I would get pulled over for no reason, and just like I would always question. And I don't question anything now. It's so funny. It's like I would always question. I'm like, man, did I do something to somebody? Because I'm cool with
Yeah.
everybody, and then bad stuff would be happening. at the time, I thought it was bad stuff, but it was just stuff happening to me to redirect me to where I was supposed to go. So I was like, man, like, why am I getting pulled over?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm in a Caprice lowrider that with, uh, what do you call it? Flowmaster exhaust, loud as heck in Spokane, Washington. Now in Texas, yeah, I probably won't get pulled over.
Yeah, everyone drives that.
Washington, I'm getting pulled over every day.
Yeah.
At least every month. And little things like Spokane. If you don't have insurance, that's like an extra $400 ticket on top of your 150 ticket or whatever it is. And I'm like, after 4 of them, I was out, bro. I'm like, man, I'm 21 years old.
Yeah, can't stay here.
$10 an hour. I'm like, I'm out 1,000 on tickets.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It is like some of the things I was questioning, but like I said, I don't really think about that stuff anymore.
But I love what you said, that you weren't like, it redirected you to where you had to, go.
Yeah, that's what I believe.
Yeah, 100%. You
People
got to
can
change
look
that
at
mindset.
Yeah, people can look at like what's happening to them, and they can take it two ways. They can take it like
I'm the victim.
it's telling them, "Hey, don't go this way because this bad thing happened. You need to try it differently." Or you can keep on knocking your head against the wall and doing the same thing that's making bad things happen to you. It's totally up to you. That's the cool thing about life.
Yeah.
That's why I like life. I love life. Like, life will show you what works and what doesn't as long as you're not afraid to test it. But if you sit in the house all day and you wait for opportunity to come knock, and it doesn't come knocking, and you're wondering why and asking why opportunities are knocking, like, sometimes there's gonna come a point where you're gonna be like, hey, bro, you gotta step out the side of the house.
Yeah, you gotta
do something extra.
Yep.
You can't just do your 8 to 5 or 9 to 5. You gotta pick up do something that you don't want to do. I just tell people, when you do things you don't want to do, it builds character, man. And I've gotten really good at doing things I don't like to do.
I love that.
That's my explanation.
That's how we grow.
Yeah.
So your personal life, you were going through that. You were going out in Kuwait, out there in the East, Middle East. Bring us back to when you finish. You finish your tour over there, your deployment over there. Bring us back. Where did you come back? What was your headspace?
Yeah.
And
2014.
the family and everything. Like, was your dad still over there? All that.
Dad was still over there. I left. Decided to come back. My grandpa fell off the roof in Washington. I decided to come back home and be closer to family. Instead of a 13, 18-hour plane ride, it was 3, right? But I did not want to come back to Spokane. So I was like, hey, I'll have more opportunities for Department of Defense, military, everything come into San Diego, 5 military bases. Plus, the wifey, who was my friend at the time, Brittany, she was here. And I was like, okay, let's give us a try, give our relationship a try, see how it works out. I love San Diego. I had came to San Diego before I went overseas to see her. So I was like, okay, I like San Diego. So I moved to San Diego 2014 when I came back.
Straight from Kuwait to San Diego?
Yep.
Okay.
Because I was like, I need to find a job immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
and Spokane or Washington wasn't going to have that? Or it was going to be a little bit more challenging?
No. Yeah, there were opportunities in Spokane doing military, chances pretty low.
Right.
Not as high as 5 bases in San Diego. Aviation, logistics, all that stuff that I did. You got Fairchild Air Force Base in Spokane. Like,
so you come back. Another calculated risk.
Yep. That was another calculated risk. First, let me see, 2014 to 2020. I'll say 2014 to 2019 was rough for me, man. Got better as the years went. I would say adjusting back to America was the hardest. Because I thought you could come back and I wouldn't have to worry about anything. But
in the sense of what, financially?
No, in everything. Like, overseas, we kept our heads on a swivel, but we knew where it was coming from. Here, it could be coming from anywhere. You have to keep your head on a swivel at all times. because somebody might be having a bad day in a school, church, concert,
Mm-hmm.
and then that doesn't end very well, right? And then it's just it was very and then wrapping my head around like adjusting to the social cultures and everything like
Yeah. And then, I mean, apart from that, San Diego is different than Washington, so it's not like, oh, I'm back to the West Coast. It's kind of it's going to be similar to
it
San
was
Diego or it was similar to Washington. It's a different culture. I mean,
and
go
it
to San Diego and San Francisco, it's different.
and it wasn't even that it wasn't as like overseas. Like if anybody has lived overseas, coming back to America is weird sometimes. Like and it's an adjustment. Because some of the like we take a lot for granted here, man. We take more than you
Oh,
think,
I
and it's
bet.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
man, and seeing how like especially Ethiopia and Gambia really woke me up.
Mm.
Ethiopia and Gambia really woke me up.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Like being in Ethiopia, I was hiking up, I believe it was Addis Ababa, the mountain there. And you would see like 60 to 70-year-old ladies hiking up the mountain, and it's a 45-degree angle, and it's a street, and they have bundles of sticks on their back that's bigger than their whole bodies, and they're leaning forward going up the mountain,
Mm-hmm.
and we're driving up the mountain, and I'm like, no, I had to get out the car. Like, that's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and they do that every day. So I'm like, yo, that's wild
And
to
you
me.
come back to the States and you're like,
You got people.
everyone's driving. No one wants to walk. People want to,
Oh
Uber,
no, I got
whatever.
people. There's people complaining that they can't find a job
Yeah.
after they put in 6 applications. And sit in the house and did it
Mm-hmm.
and didn't even see anybody. Like that's bro, the work ethic alone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's some of my mentees. That's stuff I talk to them about. Like, you want to know why these kids coming from other countries are we're outworking you? They're coming from nothing, bro. They're working harder than you. You're letting hard work get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
They're working they're working 12 hours a day, 6 days a week, and it's nothing. You want to work your 8 to 5 and stop for 5 and then only do that 5 days. You can't get ahead like that.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, I'm glad I adopted that early
Yeah.
because I always had 2 jobs. So when I went overseas, our schedule was 12 hours a day, 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
In Afghanistan, it's 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. You try to say that over here, people are,
Yeah.
it scares the heck out of
Yeah. They're
people.
like, oh, for HR.
Exactly. And like, I'm glad I adopted that early and it didn't bother me because now I just take the same concept and that's
Apply
why
it.
people are like, how do you do the notary real estate and Airbnb? It's like, 'cause I work 18-hour days. Wake up at 5, I'm going to bed at like 9, 10.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's not sustainable. That's what my body feels okay. My body's telling me that it's okay. I
Mm-hmm.
can run off 6 hours of sleep.
And you've been doing it, and then
Been doing it years on
yeah.
end. I always tell people, listen to your body. I listen to I've tested my body, just fasting and, you know, um, eating different kind of diets and just everything, right? Experience. I'm gonna circle back to that. That's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
You get to experience how your body operates based on what you put in it. But if you only keep on putting the same McDonald's in it, you're only going to get one experience and one point of view on how your body operates, right?
Yep.
So, but people are so afraid to do a 6-day juice fast like it's the end of the world. Bro, you're not going to die. Chill.
Yeah.
Try it. But it's like, I don't know, it's hard, or I'm
Yeah.
scared, or
They
you
haven't
know,
had enough experiences. They're
and
not put. They're
if you
not put
make
to the fire.
doing what you, if you make doing things that you don't want to do part of the regular schedule, then that'll start being the norm, and your life will start changing. Because you're gonna be like, man, I didn't think this was possible.
Yep.
And now you know it's possible because you did it.
Yep.
That just changes the game.
Love that. That's
But
100% true.
yeah, that the adjustment here in America though, just to circle back, it was tough. It took a couple years. I would say 2 to 3 years. Um, so while I was waiting on a contract, got in it selling insurance, Transamerica, financial advisor, right? It was
Mm-hmm.
good with money. I had a financial background for college. Um, went from there, those sales to car sales at Mossy Nissan, Kearney Mesa. Um, Met a lot of good people there, a lot of homies. And then from there, I went to Toyota in Mission Valley, and that was a really good experience. I started doing pretty well there. Um, Still waiting for a contract, right?
So it's not. So what do you mean by waiting for a contract?
A government contract.
So when you came back, were you applying for these contracts, but there's a wait list?
No, when you apply and nobody knows you.
Mm,
The government is about who you know.
right.
If you want to get in and you don't know anybody in the area, like my dad, right? He didn't get me the job. He gave me the phone numbers for the people to call.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad, he was just a great worker, a great W-2 employee, all that stuff. He did great work, right? So they're all, oh, his referral must be good.
Yeah.
Then when I got over there, they put it, oh, this is your son.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So there was nothing like that available here in San Diego.
There
Or,
was,
like,
but I didn't know anybody.
that's why, like, that person,
Yep.
wasn't.
That person ended up being my buddy Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Moulter. That's my man. He's funny. But yeah, I was always barbecuing, man, at the pool. It's our apartment complex. I had a big circle pool, and I was all like, "Hey, y'all, the pool's bigger than Kanye's. Come get the barbecue. I'm grilling for everybody."
Mm-hmm.
That just built good relationships. And then I found out that he was on base, and I was like, "Man, I've been trying to get on base since I came here from Afghanistan for the past 3 years." Next thing I know, like I get on base. I'm on base in 2018, 2017, my birthday actually.
Nice.
So it was a rough 3 years. I ain't gonna lie.
So
And
that's
then-
what you mean it was rough, is that you couldn't get a contract, and so just trying to adapt at that time, not
Yep.
only to society back in the States, but also like working these different,
It felt like I wasn't. I felt like I was lost. Like I didn't have a cat card. I didn't have a military base. I was always around military, raised around military, worked in military
You
aviation.
didn't feel structure?
Nah, I didn't feel it. Like I was like, man. And then on top of that, like people forget about, like, you come to places like San Diego, and it's just like it's sunny all the time and beach all the time, and you got clubs and bars. And I'm coming from Kuwait, where there's no drinking, no smoking, no nothing, right? To San Diego. So it's like, oh man, mid-20s is like have a party. Hey, we're coming to this Sunday fun day. This is the first place I think they started having like Thirsty Thursdays, like a day every day for drinking. Like, what the heck is this place, man?
That's what you saw San Diego. You're like,
So you get sucked into that, like,
Yeah.
man, having fun, and then next thing you know, 3 years are gone by. Like, what did I do in my life?
Mhm.
Like, what's going on? And I'm back and forth from Washington to San Diego, right? In between there, seeing my daughters, they're coming down here, going up there.
Mhm.
And I was just like, man, it's like I need to get on the military base, just structure, you know what I'm saying? Structure and just realign myself again, because like you get around people that are in the military and government, you guys speak the same language, you guys understand how each other, you guys been to a couple of places, you guys share some of the same experiences, man.
Mhm.
Like, it's hard to talk about experiences in Kuwait and Afghanistan with someone who's never been to Kuwait and Afghanistan.
100%.
And so, and talking about it is like someone to resonate and sit with you over coffee or lunch, and you guys, it's like, all right, cool, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, so just the adjustment to society, it was tough. Like, and when you see some of the stuff over in Afghanistan, it's like you see people not make it back home, and you see some messed up stuff over there, and then like you come over to America and everybody's just treating life like it's all good. Like, it's not all good
Yeah.
all the time, like for everybody. It might be for you, but I don't know. Like, don't take life for granted, dude.
No.
Like, they having anytime, any place, anywhere. And I get that. I probably get that from my dad, backing in the parking spaces. I don't sit with my back to the door at restaurants, little things like that. Like, that's just, but I don't have to tell military members or nothing like that. Like,
Right.
we see wars. I don't have to tell them stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, why I have to do that? My wife looks at me like I'm crazy though. She's like, but now, like, as we go in, we're in restaurants. She's like, where you want to sit?
Yeah.
And then, yeah, just little things like that.
Looking at the door?
Yeah, well, where she knows I don't want my back to the door.
Right.
But
Looking at the door.
when there's 2 doors,
Uh-huh.
it's just like, okay, she's like, hey, where you want to sit? So, but that was probably the hardest part, was the adjustment. But once I got on the base, bro, then everything started getting better.
Shout out to Jake.
Yeah, shout out to Jake, man.
Yeah.
He got me on there, and the rest is history. He moved. I think he moved back to Indiana with his family recently. He's doing great. But that started off my career out here in San Diego on the bases, and
2018.
20 and the 20. So it's 2017, my birthday, and then 2018. So I went contractor to federal.
Mm.
Get two separate sides. They call it the dark side when you go federal, but it's all gravy. You get a pension and all that stuff, right? Because they don't do pensions no more. But yeah, I did that. I went federal in 2018. Up until now, December 2025, retired early. Took that early retirement. And when I mean early retirement, I mean financially, not age wise, anything like that. Um, I feel like a lot of people base it off age. And I think that's where people get stuck, is because if you're basing your retirement off your age, you're missing like what you could do from 40 to 60. You could do so much from 40 to 60 instead of waiting on that paycheck that's only going to be.
So give me an example, like for someone, give an example
So
of like someone
say,
retiring early
right. Okay. So
financially.
say if I was to do 20 more years in the military, I'm 37, I'd be 57, right? And I would be getting $2,000 a month for the rest of my life. But right now, if I leave at 37, I'd be getting $500 for the rest of my life after 55.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be 55. There's like age limits on it
Right.
when you can receive retirement, right? It's on purpose.
Yeah.
But in between 37 and 55, another thing we have is 3 houses and investments. Those bring in cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than 500. That's definitely more than $2,000 a month, which is what I would get in retirement after 55, right?
Right.
And then so I got those assets from pulling from my retirement.
Yep.
Now, why would I wait 20 years to get another $2,000 in 20 years?
Right.
No,
No.
because I know in 5-6 years what we've acquired so far, it's definitely over 2,000 in cash flow a month.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do that again 5 times in 20 years,
Yeah.
that beats the heck out of my retirement and my
100%.
pension, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going off the financial
That's what
side,
you mean.
not the age side.
Mm-hmm.
Because by the time I'm 55 and a half, I'm like, that's a whole bunch of wasted potential.
Mm-hmm.
I think I was reading a book. It said the most common thing in the world is untalented men and women. Like, or wait, what did he say? Most common thing in the world is men and women with no. Damn, what was it?
It sounds very similar to that one saying where it goes, the most millionaires are in a cemetery. Why? Because that's where great ideas went to die. People that never took action on their ideas. People that never,
Right.
took their ideas and implemented it in lives. Something like that.
It was the most common thing in the world is unsuccessful men and women with talent.
Mm.
That is the most common thing in the world.
Yep.
Unsuccessful men and women with talent. Because we all got it.
Yeah. We're all unique. We all have different talents, different traits, different opportunities that we can create, but not everyone.
I was like, that when I heard that, I was like, that's the most common thing in the world.
Yeah. I've never heard that one. That's the first time hearing that one.
I was reading a book, bro, and I heard that. I was like, yo, that's crazy. And that's why I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about reading, oh, man, it scares me sometimes. I'm like, man, what if they put 20 years from now, I don't know. What if they put a restriction on reading? Started limiting everybody's knowledge. What are you going to do then? Better start reading right now.
Mm-hmm.
Put it all in your brain, because then only God can take it away. Because if they lock up all the books and all the libraries, or they burn all that stuff and cut off all the digital stuff, like, where's your knowledge going to be at?
Yep.
They put limits on it. They can do whatever they want. That's how I was like, man. I was like, read. I was like, it's easier than lifting weights. It's easier than working out. Just move your eyeballs or open your ears. But I'm always about that, because it's people's stories, people's perspectives that have been on the earth longer than you.
Experiences. Yep.
Yes. That's why, man. Yeah, reading is a game changer for me. And as I age, I noticed that a lot of people don't do it.
No.
A lot of my friends, like family members and stuff, I'm like, dang, I look like a crazy person the way I read. But then I listen to like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and like that's all they do.
When did you start taking reading seriously?
I think I've been like that all my life. Shout out to my grandma Lucy,
She,
Lucy Ann. Oh
she
man.
read a lot.
Oh no, so I had a trouble with reading comprehension when I was, I want to say fourth grade, third
Hmm.
grade, something like that. It's like I couldn't understand what I read on the pages.
You'd read it, but you wouldn't like
I would just be
dice.
reading words,
Yeah, you're
just
like,
saying the words,
yeah.
and I didn't realize what was going on. So what she did is, this is a major life hack right here. We read Goosebumps books, and the Goosebumps books drew me in. I was like, oh man! So every night we read Goosebumps books in the bed,
Hmm.
in her bed with my grandma and grandpa. Yep, Grandma Lucy. I was
And that
like,
got you hooked.
yeah, that right there, that got me to reading, and I was like, oh man, okay. And then the older I got, I started noticing that I started falling asleep while I was reading, bro.
Or that's me right now.
And then so I was like, all right, this is slowing down the time it gets into my brain.
Mm.
So I was like, I got to switch this up. So now when I'm in the car, that's what I'm doing, listening to books.
Mm.
That's my jam. Listening to books, and then I'll cut it whenever I get tired, like listening to books and like that, I'll turn on a podcast so I can
Hmm.
hear a story.
Yeah.
So
That's where I'm dealing with right now. Sometimes I read so I can fall asleep, which is bad because I don't think I retain it. But I'm in that phase right now, and I
yeah,
have a lot of audiobooks too that I'm going over. I got a book in my bag right now.
yeah.
Um, but no, that's good. I mean, that's another trait that made you the person you are today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
All of it's relative, man.
yeah, all of it.
That's what like every experience I've ever been through with my family, my friends, like some of them I don't remember, and my cousin Justin, he's been with me since day one. Like our parents were roommates, so we're the same age. He was born October 7th. I was born September 14th.
Mm.
So like we're basically brothers. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? So that's my day one. Um, his memory is the sharpest memory that I've ever experienced ever, and he remembers stuff about all of our lives when we were younger. And I'm like, bro, just keep that memory. Please keep
Hmm.
those memories, keep
Yeah.
that mind. But he remembers a lot of stuff, and like when we go, I'm like, man, I forgot about that. Like you're like, dang man, you don't remember when that happened to you? I think someone had stole like my car stereos and my kickers out of my car. And they're like, you don't remember? I was like, no. They're like, yeah, it was during Christmas and stuff. I was like,
Yeah, it was not. It was
no.
2005.
But I've
Whatever.
noticed that I really don't remember like a lot of the negative stuff, and like people stealing and taking advantage of like the money part, and me giving it like I remember a lot of the good stuff.
Hmm. Which is the most important.
Yeah,
Which is the most
that's
important.
one thing, and I'm like, I'm glad my brain's like that. Because like some people only remember the past stuff.
Hmm.
And I like working with those people because that puts my brain to the test to help switch their negativity to positivity.
Hmm.
So I feel like that's super important, man. If you could bring out the good in things as life is happening to you, because how life happens for you. That's what I always say. Like when things are happening to you, it feels like things are happening to you. Just think of that as like a roadblock for you
Yeah.
to kind of like turn,
Which the mind.
you know,
Which the mindset.
turn and go the other way or go around that because that path isn't for you. Think about it like that.
Hmm.
Not that this isn't supposed to happen for you. No, it's not supposed to happen that way. So you got to go around. You got to do a little bit more. You know, you got to do a little bit of this to
Hmm.
get there. So, and just kind of switching that mindset, like you said.
Yeah. Switching that mindset. So your experience, from 2018 to 2024, 25, you
Hmm.
retired early. Um, what was, just in a nutshell, what was your experience there at the base in a nutshell?
Oh,
Like
in
what?
Granada?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much you can talk about it, but
No, what I can talk about was it's like it was a very great experience.
yeah,
I was around airplanes all day.
you felt home.
Yeah, I love airplanes.
Hmm.
I love jets, dude. Like my dad being in the Air Force, all that stuff. Like my great grandpa working on the B-2 bombers, all that stuff. Like it's in me. So I think that's why I'm really intrigued by it. So being able to support our war fighters with getting the logistics and getting the parts that they need to help keep this country safe.
Hmm.
I love that, even
Yeah,
if it's a
love being
small
part of it.
part.
Yeah.
Even if it's a small part, because I get to use my brain to make sure things go efficiently,
Hmm.
and that so that skill translates into everything else because all it is organization and operations. And if you can fix bottlenecks or delays and stuff like that, you can do that with your life, you can do that with your business, you can do that with everything.
Mm.
So logistics, to me, logistics is everything.
So that's helped you out a lot then, and that experience helped you out a lot in the Airbnb then.
Oh yeah.
So I want to segue into during this time the Airbnb, right? You invest in real estate.
Uh-huh.
You're a host, super host in Airbnb.
Yeah.
Tell us at what point in life, or at what point in the past 3, 4, 5 years did you start transitioning into a life outside of the military or a life outside of the base where you started investing?
Oh yeah, that was when I started my notary company, my loan signing notary
Mhm.
company, bro. Yeah,
And and tell us what was the reason behind that? The notary.
so the military's great, right? Government's great. When you're at a W-2 and you have pension and child support and all that stuff taken out, right? You only have a limited amount of money. Like I think I had like $20 left over for savings.
Mm,
And all I kept on hearing from the podcasts that I was listening to, the books that I was reading, right? Billionaires, right? Everybody who was successful, all of them had a real estate portfolio. That was the
mm-hmm,
common denominator.
mm-hmm.
And I was like, dude, I do not want to work for the rest of my I want to spend time with my family. I want to get experiences. Like that's what I want to
You
do.
want passive income.
Yeah. Even if it's a little bit active, I'm fine with that. Because to me, the Airbnb, all that stuff, it's not passive. I'm not like after this, I'm gonna go switch the locks,
Right.
like on a slage lock, our last one. So it's like you can, but I rather do that and get compensated for all of it in form of my business getting
Mm-hmm.
compensated, right? And deliver that customer service and make sure people have a great checkout than working at like a W-2 where I'm only getting half of my time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it started to become a time thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm spending 10 hours a day, but only getting paid like I'm working for 5 hours.
Mm.
And
So
that,
then from the books, you're reading real estate. You're reading all these entrepreneurs of business, successful business people having real estate. And then where did notary come in?
so Bigger Pockets, I was on Bigger Pockets and Bigger Pockets Money. His name Mark Wills, some good friend and mentor of mine, popped up on there talking about how you can make $150 for an hour of work. And I was like, where? It's like sign here, day here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa. Then I watched a couple YouTubes of 60 plus year old ladies in Alabama and different states talking about how they're making a couple $1,000s doing loan signings. And I'm like, what is this? I started signing up. Like I said, I had no money
Mm-hmm.
on the couch. I had an iPhone 8. I'll never forget this. I had an iPhone 8, took the classes. I think it was the class was $500. I put it on my credit card that I had just gotten,
Yeah.
maxed it out. It was only $500 limit, bro. I was like, this is it. Like, I'm
Yeah.
taking a chance on myself. That's scary for most people. Most
Mm-hmm.
people won't do that.
Mm-mm.
But in my head, I was all like, hey man, like if it doesn't work, I'll figure out a way to get the $500 to pay it off the
Mm-hmm.
credit card eventually. Like
But I'm trying this.
yeah, took a chance on myself. It ended up working out. I learned a lot, retained a lot, and next thing I know, March I made $650, 500 paid off the card. I had extra 150. April I made 2,000. May I made 2,500. And then my notary book got stolen. My notary bags got stolen because someone broke into my car. So I had to restart again, right? July, I made 3,500 and then just kept on going up, bro. The
Mm-hmm.
more because I came at it from a perspective of helping people
Mm-hmm.
and making sure they had a good experience at the closing table when they were either getting their first home, second home, investment home. I just wanted them to have a good experience with me at the closing table and be all like, you made it a good experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I'm at the closing table as a notary, I'm not representing only myself. It's the lender, real estate agent, title, escrow. I'm representing all their companies because that's their client.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm the last person that they see, right? The notary is the last person before they get their keys, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want some their
Bad
client
experience.
coming to them being like, oh, that was horrible. We need them saying that was the greatest experience of my life at the closing table, getting my very first home.
You want to be that. You want to be that cherry on top.
Yeah,
You want to be
dude.
that. You know.
Well, the only reason why I want to be that is because that's what I would want.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go back to how I always put myself in those people's shoes. When I'm sitting across from people, when I got my first home, when me and Brittany got our first home, I remember how I felt. And
Mm-hmm.
just being across from like you want it to be a good experience. So like that's what I want to deliver every single time. I don't care if I'm in a $500,000 house, $300,000 house, $50 million house. I'm delivering the same kind of value
Mm-hmm.
because every person deserves that great experience at the closing table.
Mm-hmm.
It's just yeah.
So when did you start? I love that. When did you start the notary? What year was that?
That was November 2019. I took the class, passed it. I was waiting on my notary stamp for 2 months.
So this was a year after you joined the base.
Yep.
And so from joining the base, you what you wanted to get into, you got into. Then you realize this is not sustainable. This is not enough. Like this money is good, but again, what you going back to what you said, I'm left with $20 of savings or whatever, and then you're like, okay, but then we're gonna do something else. And you started that side hustle 2019.
Yep. What inhibited that was I was reading Bigger Pockets podcast 2018 to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got to 2019, I was like, dude, I gotta do something.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that I didn't have anything to do anything with. And I was like, I need to start making some extra income. Because then, that's where I started working more than 12 hours a day again. I was like, okay, cool. I have something I gotta do, right? So after I got off base, so I got the loan signing. I started February 2020 is when I got the loan signing system. That's when I was like certified loan signing agent. And I was like, okay, I'm ready to help people sign on loan docs.
Mm.
So that was February 2020. March 2020, I had all my money back, $500 that I invested.
And some.
And some. Well,
Yep.
an infinite return now, but
Yeah,
that got me started, and I was like, wow. And then that May, I had a loan. One of my loan signings was with my buddy and my mentor, Andrew Greer, man, big developer in the city of San Diego. Just a cool dude. He always looks out for people. He always tries to bring value to people. Things that he's doing, has done, and is still doing. Like, I like people who are still doing it because the doing part is the hardest. People talk, look, and talk again about what they saw, but you don't hear about people trying to teach people while they're still doing it and in it.
That's most important.
And that's what I love about it, man. Like, and
He's still getting himself outside that comfort zone every day too. Yeah.
All day, man. And so I had a loan signing with him on his porch. It was 2020, and we couldn't. He usually throws events, and he couldn't throw events. So I think I was very fortunate to be able to have that time with him because I think we spent the extra like 40 minutes or something on his porch. And 2 months later, I got our first triplex with my old business partner. So that he made me turn that switch from analysis paralysis to actually doing, and that changed the game for me because the rest was history. We got the triplex. After that next year we got our home. After that we converted the ADU. After that we did a flip in Palm Springs, or actually we were doing that at the same time as converting the ADU, I believe. And then I think we sold the triplex in 2023. After we sold that, I immediately invested into a boutique hotel company, Summers Capital, and then I bought the Detroit property.
2024.
2024, yeah. So no, I bought the Detroit property 2023, December 28th, because I had to buy it. I needed to buy it the same year. I was like, I had to reposition the money as fast as possible before the year ended.
Before the taxes.
That was more so. I'm always looking on the tax side of things. You already know.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
I was like, so I did that, and then from there it's just kind of like making sure optimizing what you have, right? Some people keep on going. Some people optimize. I'm just a big proponent of like operator preference.
Yeah. Making sure that everything is running smooth.
Yeah, not everybody's going to
Efficient.
be the same. So,
Yeah.
like, if you're an operational person and you like optimizing and you want to do that before you move on to the next, or if you like going after things,
Maybe like scaling.
yeah, if you like scaling and then coming back and optimizing, like, I don't, when it comes to real estate, I don't think there's a right or a wrong way. I think it's just important that you do
hmm
and you just continue to fail forward. I call it failing forward
Yeah,
because yeah, like those are the failures aren't failures. It's just lessons.
exactly.
Just like life is telling you, hey, maybe you shouldn't probably go that route next time.
Yeah.
Or maybe like, for instance, flipping isn't for you because you get taxed 50% and you don't like that too much, right? So maybe you should go this route and utilize this strategy. So that's kind of what I like about it too. It'll show you what you like, what you don't like, and it'll challenge you.
Yeah.
So,
So 2018,
mhm,
2019 was a pivotal time when you first 2018 was a pivotal time in your life when you got on base.
mhm.
2019 when you started the notary. 2020 when you
20,
met up with Andrew Greer and got into real estate. Like actually, just
yep,
yeah.
2021. Yeah, 2020, we bought the first triplex. That was the first time experiencing renters and
hmm
investing, right? Because that time I didn't move into the house. I stayed out. My business partner moved into one of the units.
Like
Um,
house hacking.
yeah, house hacking. And I tell everybody the easiest way to do, it makes it less stressful for you. Doesn't make you feel like you're alone,
hmm
you know. But yeah, that was 2021. Bought our first family home, me and Brittany, we were on the loan for that. So we got, and that was a totally different experience. 2020 when we bought the triplex, it was easy. Nobody was looking because everybody, if you remember the COVID thing and
Oh yeah,
everybody was worried about getting sick. So like July, like nobody was looking at all.
houses on the market for
Well, yeah,
yeah,
nobody was even worried about buying
yeah. They
because
didn't
they
know what
wanted
was
to
gonna
stay
happen.
alive.
Yeah,
They were like, I want to stay alive. So I was like, okay, cool. Like my, I knew I was fine with my health and everything. I was like,
what's gonna happen?
I was like, let me go acquire some assets or something that I could pass down to my family.
Especially during that time, you don't know where. Like, I'm assuming, and maybe you correct me if I'm wrong, but in your head, you're probably like, who knows where we're going? Like in life, you want to own something, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I need to sell it later on, I can
Mm-hmm.
sell it or whatever the case is. I mean, some assets is better than no assets, right?
Right.
So that's probably what you were going through at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And Warren Buffett's always in my ear, man. Like I've been reading on Warren Buffett since I was like 16 years old, dude.
Shout out, Mr. Dub.
Like at 18, I think I bought my first share of Berkshire Hathaway.
Mm,
Um, but one thing he always says, man, is like try to figure out by at all costs, try to figure out how to make money in your sleep.
mm-hmm,
You do that, you're good.
mm-hmm.
Now you just gotta wait. But people aren't good at waiting. That's the hard part.
Yeah,
The delay gratification.
yeah.
You want it now.
It's like him. He's a prime example of it, right?
Yeah, him and Charlie Munger.
Yeah, became billionaires at over like 60, 70 years old.
Yeah,
Older than that.
they acquire most of their wealth after 60, bro.
Yeah.
Charlie Munger lost like I believe he said he lost everything at like 39.
Ish. And it started all over again.
Think
Became
like wouldn't know that unless I read the book.
mhm,
I'm not even 39 yet. That is so inspiring to me.
yeah.
Like I don't know, man. It's just like thinking in abundance mind frame, and whenever I'm thinking in abundance mind frame, I hear stuff like that, and it makes me think even bigger.
Yeah.
And I just love it. That's the joy I get out of reading. You get to hear other people's stories and stuff that you didn't know.
One
And
thing that also inspires me a lot is Rich Summers
oh
when
yeah,
he talks like he's what 40 or something,
something like that. Yeah,
42 ish. But I mean
that's
he
my
was doing
boy.
he was shout out Rich. He was doing the W2 and then
Yep,
he's just you know well set off for himself, pretty wealthy,
yep.
some would say. And he's it happened after like 39, 38 years old.
Yeah, he bet on himself though. That's the big.
That's the
That's a big
thing.
important
That's the
thing.
thing.
Like, because how many people would you know that are scared to cash out their 401k and bet on themselves? I would say
A
80,
lot.
90% of
Yeah.
America, right?
Yeah.
And those are the little things like that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like those little nuances that like to follow what everybody else is doing. And I've never been like that. And like the things that we have, I've been pulling out of my TSP, taking loans out and buying cribs for the last 4 or 5 years.
hmm
most people keep their money inside their TSPs or their retirements and don't take money out. And
Yeah.
I have no idea why. Because I'm like,
It's a tool.
they're gonna make you pull it out at 70, bro, or 71.
Mhm.
Do you think taxes are gonna be higher or lower?
They're gonna be higher. Not only that, but the freaking inflation.
So in my head, I'm like, why wouldn't you be taking loans out on that tax-free and buying houses?
Mhm.
You get to write them off on paper and they go up in value over time. But that's just my opinion on it, and that's what I did.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything special. Like, I didn't do anything special. I just borrowed from my retirement. Most people borrow from the retirement to pay off bills.
Mhm.
I'm borrowed from my retirement, bought a house, paid that off, borrow from it again, put a down payment on a house. Like, I don't know, it's pretty simple to me. You just keep on doing that. And I feel like once you get 5 houses, convert the garages, or if they have garages, get 5 houses with garages, convert the garages, you got 10 units. You can live a good life with that. I think Thatch says that.
Yep.
Thatch Nguyen, he says
It's like
that.
10, right?
Yeah,
It's like 8 or 10. That's like
ADU Summit. He was at an ADU Summit a couple of weeks ago that Andrew, my boy Brian, and David, how they held. And I was all like, man, I love that concept. Simplicity.
He's like, you don't need more than that.
Yeah.
Like 10 good properties and you're good.
Yeah, and they can be 10 however you want. They can be 5 houses with 5 ADUs. And that's that's kind of route I'm going. Me and my wife, but that's the route we're going. Like, why not do that? Because you'll bring in a good amount of money with that.
Yep.
But some people just don't know when enough is enough either. Like, and then they don't know how to wait. But it's okay. Like, that's why I love being someone who gives back time and knowledge and everything, because those people who do think that certain way, my door is always open, like resources, resolutions, meetups, and stuff like that. Get them around like-minded people and kind of change their perception of everything. Because some people don't, actually, no, not some people, all people, you don't know what you don't know.